Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us for the session on driving seamless MedTech M&A, unlocking regulatory and digital synergies, brought to you by Tata Elxsi. Before we start, I would like to do a quick audio check. I request our audience to send a quick text message in the chat window to confirm that you can listen to us and that we are receiving our messages for when we open out the Q&A session. All right, thank you. So, my name is Anshul Gupta, and I'm part of the strategy and business partnerships at the Healthcare and Life Sciences Business Unit at Tata Elxsi. Let me start by introducing my co-speaker for today, Shailesh Deshmukh. Shailesh leads the M&A integration practice for healthcare and life sciences at Tata Elxsi. He comes with over 12 years of experience in the pharma and life sciences industries with domain expertise largely in regulatory affairs. He has worked with customers across the geographies, including US, EU, and APAC markets, and has overseen several large and small scale outsourcing deals. Thank you, Shailesh, for joining us today.
Thanks, Anshul. Thanks for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to have an interactive discussion with all of you.
We have an exciting agenda lined up for you today, delving into the various facets of M&A activities in the medical technology industry. Let's have a quick look at what we'll be covering during this session. Our first segment will be an insightful exploration of the catalysts driving M&As in the medtech industry. We'll delve into the factors that encourage consolidation and how they impact the industry's overall landscape. Understanding these catalysts is going to be crucial for navigating the ever-evolving world of M&As. Next, we'll dive into the heart of M&A strategies for medtech companies. We'll explore the key areas that OEMs need to focus on during the M&A journey. These areas encompass everything from due diligence to regulatory compliance and beyond. And our third and final segment, we'll uncover real-world cases of successful M&A integration within global medtech organizations. By examining these case studies, we'll learn best practices and strategies that have led to successful outcomes. And this knowledge shall serve as a practical guide for those considering or currently involved in M&A activities. These strategic acquisitions by renowned medtech companies showcase their commitment to meeting specific priorities and driving innovation and growth. To take a few examples, J&J's acquisition of A Biomed was primarily driven by their focus on innovation and technology advancement, as well as portfolio diversification. A Biomed's cutting-edge technologies and product offerings complement J&J's existing portfolio, enabling them to expand their capabilities and tap into new market segments. And this acquisition aligns with J&J's vision of delivering transformative healthcare solutions to patients worldwide. On the other hand, Medtronic's acquisition of Affera was strategically aimed at gaining access to intellectual property and R&D capabilities. Affera's innovative technologies and research expertise will tend to offer Medtronic newer avenues for product development and technological advancements. So by bringing Affera into their fold, Medtronic aims to reinforce its position as a leading player in the medtech industry and enhance its ability to address unmet medical needs. To take another example, Stryker's acquisition of Vocera was driven by multiple strategic priorities. Firstly, aimed at leveraging innovation and technology advancement, bolstering Stryker's product offerings in the healthcare communication space. And additionally, the acquisition also provides Stryker access to valuable intellectual property and R&D capabilities, enhancing their ability to develop an advanced medical solution. And on the other hand, Becton Dickinson's acquisition of Parara was focused on portfolio diversification, market expansion, and access to new opportunities. Parara's expertise and product portfolio complement BD's existing offerings, allowing them to tap into the newer market segments and expand their reach in the sector. So the strategic move aligns with BD's commitment to addressing evolving healthcare needs and strengthening its market presence. These are all recent examples from the last financial year itself. So the primary there can be various primary reasons for companies who are looking to acquire new companies. Right? Some of them we've tried to list and we want to delve further in our on your screen. One of the primary reasons for M&As in the medtech industry is to drive innovation and technology advancement. By acquiring innovative companies, firms can access cutting-edge technologies and research, enabling them to develop groundbreaking solutions that address critical healthcare challenges. On the other hand, M&As can also provide a pathway for companies to expand their market presence and access new regions or customer segments. Acquiring companies with an established market foothold will allow such companies to tap into untapped opportunities and grow their global footprint. M&As can also create synergies by combining complementary capabilities and resources. Through consolidation, companies can achieve cost efficiencies. They can streamline operations, optimize resources, enhance overall profitability and competitiveness. Access to intellectual property and research and development capabilities is another driving force behind M&As. By acquiring companies with valuable IP and R&D expertise, medtech firms can accelerate their product development efforts and gain a competitive edge in the market. Right? Apart from other areas such as portfolio diversification and so on that can allow medtech companies to expand the product offerings and address a broader range of healthcare needs. M&As can also strengthen companies' competitive positions by bolstering its product portfolio, market presence, and expertise. And lastly, M&As can foster strategic partnerships and alliances, which can enable medtech companies to collaborate and combine strengths to achieve common objectives. These partnerships will more or less lead to mutually beneficial outcomes and propel innovation and growth. Now we would just want to delve slightly further into the functional process and just provide you an overview of how the process goes from the beginning to the end. The successful and sustainable medtech M&As are the result of strategic clarity and diligence at every step of the process. We'll take a closer look at each step involved in this crucial journey, which begins with strategic planning, where the acquiring companies identifies its goals and desired outcomes. It's very crucial to clarify the reasons for acquiring the target company and has to align with the long-term vision and growth strategy of the company. In the target identification phase, potential acquisition targets are identified. MedTech companies look for manufacturers that complement existing product lines and seek new technologies that would be valuable to their business and support their strategic objectives. During the valuation phase, a detailed assessment of potential targets is conducted, which generally involves evaluating the financial health of the target company and determining its overall value. The valuation process is essential to make informed decisions about the acquisition. It's followed by the financial due diligence phase, where a thorough financial analysis of the target company is performed, which can include evaluating financial performance, profitability, liquidity, identifying potential financial risks or irregularities that could impact the acquisition. A very crucial phase, which is the next phase, is the product or the regulatory due diligence phase, very particularly crucial for the medtech companies. Here, the focus shifts to examining the target company's product compliance with the latest regulatory standards. This will involve reviewing relevant documentation, such as design history files or DHFs, and other regulatory documentation. Once the due diligence is completed and the target company is found to be suitable, the closing phase begins, usually involved with operational tasks such as signing of the purchase agreements and transferring of the ownership to the acquiring company, essentially finalizing the deal. The last step, which is integration, again very crucial for medtech companies, involves merging cultures, processes, and systems of both companies. It also includes integrating the QM structures and providing training to employees to ensure a smooth transition. Right? So largely the M&A functional process in the medtech industry is a carefully orchestrated journey that requires strategic planning, due diligence, and effective integration, and requires a very thoughtful process at each step of the way. Following this process ensures successful and sustainable M&As, leading to enhanced competitiveness and growth. We just want to take a quick look into the essential elements and alignments that drive fruitful mergers and acquisitions in the medtech industry. The successful M&As generally depend on blending these crucial components seamlessly. Let's just take a brief look at each element contributing to a successful M&A integration. A well-defined business structure and integration strategy is obviously the foundation of a successful M&A. Clear alignment of goals and objectives ensures a cohesive approach throughout the integration process. Conducting a comprehensive due diligence and risk identification is equally crucial to identify potential challenges and mitigate risks. A thorough examination, not just of the financial, but of the operational and regulatory aspects as well, will enable informed decision-making during the M&A journey. Right? A crucial part, again, is market research and analysis, which can help companies understand the competitive landscape and also give them an external view of how the market is shaping up, which will enable them to identify growth opportunities. This knowledge enables the integration process as well to be tailored to meet market demands and seize new market segments. Navigating regulatory compliance and obtaining necessary approvals, an area that we will delve deeper into, are equally essential for successful M&As, especially in the medtech sector. Ensuring adherence to regulatory requirements facilitates a smooth integration process, avoids potential pitfalls and obstacles. A sound financial commitment, planning, and understanding and addressing tax implications is an equally important part of M&As. Careful tax planning can also help optimize tax benefits, minimize potential risks, which can enhance the financial benefits of the integration. And last but not least, harmonizing cultures as well as aligning management and leadership teams are very essential and pivotal for effective decision making and driving the integration forward. Strong leadership alignment will ensure a unified vision and effective execution, while a well-managed cultural integration can foster collaboration, employee engagement, and a shared sense of purpose. At this point, just to delve deeper into a couple of areas that we feel are very relevant, especially for medtech sector, I would want to hand over to Shailesh to take this deeper. Shailesh, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Anshul. Yeah, I think as we went into the entire journey of the mergers and acquisition, and the one of the important state, I think, where the activity has to be started with the right due diligence, which happens in terms of understanding the product and its regulatory understanding. So it is very important to understand the target company's overall the product portfolio, their compliance situation, and then looking into the overall documentation, and then the take the required the appropriate steps. So first, maybe I will focus in terms of the aspects of due diligence, which are very important in terms of ensuring the we are having the long-term success. A structured approach in terms of having the right due diligence is the very important step in terms of having the right success on any of the acquisition, which starts with the initial planning. Planning is the very important aspect where we will be understanding what will be the overall scope of this entire acquisition, and where which are the target countries or which are the target regulatory agencies where we are focusing. That may be the major focus. Normally it goes for Europe region along with US and along with the specific countries where we are targeting for this. Then we need, based on that, we understand the applicable regulatory requirements, standards, and then based on that, the right roadmap, creating the right checklist, creating the right kind of information which we should gather, that process starts. And also the important phase is getting the right cross-functional team based on the requirement, based on the different functional areas which are involved in this entire due diligence process is very important aspects. Information gathering phase, again in this phase, getting the, because we'll be working with the acquiring company where we need to have the access to all the documentation. We need to get the all the DHF and relevant regulatory document which has been submitted to regulatory agencies or notified body. So it is important to get the all the products understanding their accesses and the regulatory history. All this information helps to have the right documentation review. So based on the checklist, based on the information which has been created, the review process gets started, where as per the FDA regulation, as per the EU MDR requirements, or as per the applicable standard which are specific to the particular products, all the documents are getting assessed. Specific emphasis goes on the biocompatibility, clinical documentation, because these are also plays a very crucial role in terms of understanding the current stage of the products, in terms of compliance, in terms of the readiness for the any of the future regulatory submissions, and in terms of cost and investment which will require in that particular product. Post market surveillance, it is one of the very important area, understanding the what kind of market feedback that has been received for this particular product, and how the product has been delivered over a last couple of years, which is the after the product is already in the market. All these steps which helps, and where the specific assessment happens, like once we look into the requirement as per the applicable standard, when we look into the all the specific documentation, it will help to understand in terms of adherence to the compliance as per the safety and performance requirement. It will help whether the product is complying as per the latest applicable requirement or not, and then identifying what are the issues, because when we are getting into the integration and getting into the next stages, it is very important first to understand what are the issues in terms of non-compliance. Is there any specific risk that we should understand and that need a right mitigation plan? So once the assessment is done, then it is the right risk analysis and mitigation has to be done, where all the regulatory liabilities, any past commitment to the regulatory agencies or notified body, any corrective or preventive actions that need to be assessed. We need to assess the overall impact in terms of product approval, in terms of the product launch and other related aspects, which all helps in terms of ensuring the right risk mitigation strategies developed. Based on this, a comprehensive report which captures all these details, which summarize which are all the findings in terms of compliance requirement, in terms of adherence to the specific regulation, in terms of adherence to the QMS processes, in terms of which are the gaps and how this gap has to be mitigated, and how the right mitigation actions will be taken. So this foundation is very important, and which led down the further process of entire the acquisition. I think as we talked about, like how the due diligence found makes the foundation for the entire integration and the acquisition process. But once we know what are the gaps which has been identified, and which are the areas where right integration has to be done, but at the end, joining all the pieces is very important in terms of having the long term success. Therefore, understanding the integrating the QMS structure in terms of understanding the different cultures, because many of the acquisition happens like means the company from US, they may acquire the company from Europe, or they acquire the company from APAC. So there are different cultural aspects, different processes changes, and different system related aspects are there which need to be understood. And important aspects is a training, because it is very important to get all the people to be get trained as per the new processes, as per the new QMS system, in terms of ensuring where we are having the right regulatory compliance. Beforehand, it is very important whenever we are getting into the kind of integration phase. It is important to understand which are the key challenges which has happened, and what are the learnings that we can leverage from the various past acquisitions or various past these kind of deals which has happened. So few of these challenges here we have highlighted, that maybe the QMS integration and implementation, because we need to combine the QMS of two different companies. We need to see what kind of differences are available in the QMS and how that has to be integrated. Compliance with the latest regulation, because when the product has been developed, it would have been made with the requirement of that at particular time when the product has been developed. But it is important to understand whether the product will stand with the current regulatory requirement, the current revisions of applicable standards which has been came. So what are the differences? Is there any specific need of additional testings? So all these aspects comes when we look into the right compliance to the applicable standards. There may be chances that when you're acquiring that there should be certain changes that may be happening in the manufacturing line, and there may be new manufacturing line that can get introduced. It is very important, like when we are introducing any of the complex product line, that may leads in various difficulty in terms of compliance, and also there is a kind of investment that involved in this activity. So it is important to understand these aspects. Product liabilities, one of the important aspect, because the liabilities in terms of financial, in terms of regulatory commitments, or in terms of any other aspect has to be known before we get into the integration phase. Intellectual property rights, one of the important aspect which helps, like which are the IP rights associated with the products manufacturing process, or any other areas which has to be considered before we get into the next phase of activities. Also, as in the medtech industry, and when we're working with the very high regulatory environment, we need to understand beforehand, like what would be the expectations from the notified body, or what would be the expectation that come from the regulatory agencies. So the expectation would be beforehand we should know the QMS structure, what would be the proposed structure that will be utilized when we are getting into the entire activities of this acquisition. Which are the product line, are we including new product line, what is the impact, and is there kind of any kind of approvals are in place for this particular product lines. Is there any change in the legal manufacturer, what the name will be remaining, what are the different aspects, like whether the location is getting changed, whether manufacturing site address is getting changed, or whether name of the legal manufacturer getting changed. So these aspects are also very important, and these are beforehand that has to be known to the notified body or the regulatory agencies. Sometimes there may be a name changes because of branding or rebranding related aspects. EC representative change, because the EC representative details will come with the new acquired company, and also as a part of branding and rebranding, the labeling and other aspects will get changed. So it is important to have these prerequisites which are required for the certification has to be taken care. Once we understand the challenges, once we understand the requirement, then the detailed, well executed integration plan, which is very important and which helps in terms of having the right execution of all the steps, which starts with right regulatory framework and alignment, where We evaluate the regulatory framework of both the companies, come to a right agreement, and come to a right process where we'll define a plan. Based on that, the integration phase starts. And also, as I mentioned earlier, it is important to have the right team which has been formed with the SMEs from the very different specific functional areas has to be onboarded in on this entire journey, which will enable to have the executions faster. Uh, QMS harmonization is very important element where need to be identified the gaps and the differences between the QMS aspects, and then we need to have a right roadmap defined in terms of implementing the QMS modification or changes which will be happening. Regulatory submissions, because there are the products maybe at the different stage of submissions or different stage of approval. It is important to understand the stages of each submissions and the application, and then the coordinate with the regulatory agencies, or understanding how the portfolio management has to be done, and taking the necessary steps in terms of ensuring right submissions are happening to the regulatory agencies. We should understand what are the different aspects that come as a part of life cycle management for this product. These maybe initially looks like a minor changes, but that may impact in terms of overall product launch and other activities like change in the address, updates in the labeling, updates in the kind of certification which need to be done, and even looking at what is the current post market surveillance requirement and what are the changes that need to be done. So it is good to have beforehand understanding these requirement, which will enable the smooth executions. As we know that like there are the kind of acquisition happens at the different regions of the world, and where maybe the cross culture integration and the training as per the new organizations are very important, not only in terms of the regulatory compliance, but also in terms of understanding the expectations of the new company, and as per the requirement which has been mentioned as per the acquired companies. Also, during this process, it is important to have a right engagement with the notified body and regulatory agencies. We need to ensure we are making the right communication at right time and having the right listening with the regulatory agencies, so that that will address all concerns, issues, or any input that are required from the regulatory agencies as a part of port merger process. So during this process, I think it is very important for us to understand which are the areas during the integration phases we need to have a focus, and that depends on what kind of different strategies that are getting implemented. Like it gets started with the product portfolio management. There may be a multiple DHF which now we wanted to combine as create a one single technical file as a submissions, or there may be a kind of certain rationalization may happen where a couple of SKUs may be added, may be deleted, or maybe there are certain different strategies which would be adopted. So it is important to understand the entire portfolio and what kind of portfolio that we will be taking further ahead in terms of getting into all the regulatory related activities. QMS, as we talked about, where understanding the what are the changes that need to be done in terms of SOPs, in terms of template, and in terms of updating the document as per the new organizational structure. These element has to be considered. Uh, One of the aspect which came across is kind of two different companies maybe using different kind of digital platforms or system in terms of labeling, in terms of DHF update. So understanding what kind of platforms the current company is using and what kind of platform the new organizations are using. So there may be a kind of PLM integration plays an important role, or there may be kind of migration happens from the one labeling system to another labeling system. So that kind of aspects need to be understood, and that has to be included in the overall execution plan. As a brand, as a part of branding or rebranding or changing the logo, that impacts the overall the product labeling, IFUs, packaging, and other aspects. So these are also very key areas which has to be considered in execution. Supply chain management, because I think one of the area where there would be certain kind of contractual agreement which has been made by the earlier company, but now as per the new company's requirement and the policies, the contractual agreement may need update. There may be some kind of supplier that may get changes or modified. So all these things has to be rightly documented and ensure that the supplier agreements and all the process has been followed, and new supplier has been onboarded with the right documentation and the compliance. Document translation, as you know, like maybe uh, if you have acquired the company and where the company has, maybe it is not necessary that always document all available in English, but we need to ensure that when you are working on these kind of migration kind of activities, all document need to be translated in English, which has to be given for the further as a part of compliance and as a part of submissions to the regulatory agency. Overall, we need to look from the all the aspects of regulatory compliance which are required for this particular product. In that journey, the manufacturing documents also plays a crucial role where that need to be aligned as per the new SOPs and the QMS system. Clinical and biocom, these are the very important aspects. It is a kind of investment driven factor, because if there are any kind of gaps in terms of clinical studies or in terms of gaps in the biocom studies, so it require a good amount of investment and right planning, because there is a time involved. These are the time bound activities where we have to invest the time and money, both the aspects. So it is important that these areas has to be covered during the execution phase. All these points helps to create a right DHF, which will be compliant as per the FDA or ISO or European or specific applicable countries regulations, which will help in terms of having the smooth execution. So while working in past couple of years, based on the experience working on different kind of due diligence and acquisitions, where we could able to navigate a right roadmap, the approach which will help what kind of how the activity has to be lined post acquisition, and what could be the sequence of event which should happen, starting from updating the QMS system. It start with the updating, starting from the organizational structure to the right from up to the training, and then getting into understanding the gaps, and then starting working on the design history file, looking into requirements, then working on input document, understanding is there any kind of specific testing requirement which has to be done, working on the testing for based on that, updating the verification and validation report, having the right reviews to ensuring the right DHF is getting updated. As we know that the DHF and risk management goes hand in hand, it is very important to ensure that the risk management related, starting from risk management plan, all the FMEAs or all the documents or all the informations are getting updated with the right risk score and ranking, and ensuring the right risk management report is coming out of it. Couple of activities can be done in parallel, like updating the label, updating the IFU, changing the some of the administrative details, and also working on kind of software upgrade or updating drawings specific to the product, so that information can be taken up. The manufacturing documents, as I mentioned earlier, like supplier agreement or process validation related documents, specific on sterilization related documents, and special process related document need to be updated and aligned as per the new QMS of the acquired companies. Biocom and clinical, understanding the requirement, finding out the gaps, and then working on ensuring that right documents are updated, like biocom, biological evaluation plan report, material evaluation summaries, clinical evaluation plan report, even if there is a need of post-market clinical follow, ensuring the right literature related data is included, which confirms the clinical safety and performance related of the product. Once we have all these elements are ready, then any kind of updates or changes or submission which has to be happen to the regulatory agencies, which may be meeting as per the EMDR compliance requirement, which go as a submission as a technical documentation to the notified body, any other compliance which has to be ensured, and maybe if it call for any kind of 510K amendment or any kind of new submission, that has to be taken care. So this entire journey helps in terms of how the activities has to be lined as a part of post acquisition activities. For performing, it is a kind of humongous task, and for performing these kind of activities, it is very important to assemble a dedicated task force which provide the comprehensive support and oversees the entire documentation completion. So it is very important to have the right elements are to be available in the entire team, starting from having the support from design and development team, and I think regulatory affairs always take a lead in terms of navigating how the entire journey happens. The manufacturing team, clinical affairs, biocompatibility, elements from the post-market surveillance, quality team, labeling and packaging, sales and marketing, translators are required wherever there is documents need to be translated, and uh, the digital aspects of having the system integration, because there are many kind of tools that need to be migrated, there is a kind of new system that will be implemented, there may be PLM migration happen. So it is important to consider the system integrator as a part of the core task force, which will enable the entire activities of the integration process. So, in summary, the entire team will ensure the right efficient coordination, communication, and collaboration for successful integration process. Uh, Today, I would like to bring some of the real world cases, which with the global medtech organization, where I would say M&A is a kind of complex puzzle, and that need to be solved with the right approach and the right solutions based on the different scenarios and specific use cases. So maybe we will discuss on a couple of real world scenarios. One of the use case which I would like to discuss here is kind of it is the kind of regulatory integration project that was for one of the global the US based medtech company, and where they had acquired one of the entity that was specifically on the specific therapeutic area, and the acquired company was from Europe. The overall approach which has been followed is first performing the gap assessment, understanding the gaps as per the acquired company's QMS system. Based on that gap, create a right remediation or the integration plan. As I mentioned, a couple of aspects which has been considered. So making this right integration plan and then working on the documentation to go for MDR submissions, and we could able to successful help them in terms of getting the product approval as per the European requirement. And it had one of the aspects of integration with the new PLM system which has been included. Overall, as a part of this success story, where we could able to bring the integration cost optimization, so we could be able to bring 30% cost reduction on the overall activities. And because of understanding of the sponsors QMS, it has enabled us to have fast track the entire process, and we could able to complete this integration into 8 months. And this thorough integration has helped in terms of the product approval as per the European requirements. Moving to the another example, where I think it is the interesting journey, where the DHF integration has been done from the entity who was in US, and they have acquired companies Asia. So I think there is a kind of the cultural difference that which we know that from the how the work and execution happens in US and how it happens in APAC. So there was an interesting cultural alignment which need to be done before we executing or initiating even the due diligence process, where the alignment has been made. The roadmap was doing the gap assessment, and then so here we have done the kind of pilot engagement in terms of understanding which are the gaps in terms of, because the product portfolio was humongous, and where it was not maybe at the start of work it was not maybe visible in terms of what should be the quantum of work. So the approach was taken is doing the pilot for few products, understand the what kind of quantum of work which may come as per the new QMS, as per the regulatory standard, or as per the regulatory requirement. That pilot has created the roadmap which helped to have the right integration plan, and based on the entire integration planning has been done, and that execution could able to successfully complete as per the time bound activity, because we understood the quantum of work ahead of working on the entire product portfolio. Being difference in cultural alignment, different in the QMS processes, the training and change management program which has been implemented at the start has brought a good value to the customer, and that has helped in terms of having the right process of harmonization, and also having the timely submission of the product, which has ensured the market sustenance of this particular product's portfolio. One more different challenge which came is kind of one of the company, again they were headquartered in UK and they have acquired company in US. The interesting part here was the company has already started the integration process. As I earlier mentioned about the due diligence is very key and important aspects in terms of ensuring that we are completing the entire integration process. So wherein the company has already started or they have already initiated the integration process, but in the middle of that they identified that it's kind of the right due diligence has not done. So it was a kind of risky operation that we have to do. So where we went at the middle of the integration, then it's kind of we understood what is their current problem statement, getting into the kind of performing again the due diligence, and then creating the right roadmap of execution, and then building the building blocks in terms of ensuring the entire compliance requirements are met. Additional requirement was there, like in terms of harmonizing the UIX related aspects of the acquired companies, and also having the cross cultural team which and owning the entire program management aspects of it. The values which we could able to bring is like seamless program management, being working on the two different continent, working on the cultural alignment, and bringing the expertise, because it was a kind of rescue operation where we need to understand what has happened and which are the areas where they could not able to rightly bring the solution of integration, understanding and going ahead in terms of bringing the right pathway for submission. One of the point here is like one of the client where they had the different manufacturing sites at 6 different locations, bringing the compliance, having the QMS component harmonization as per the site specific global and regulatory, or as per the specific health authorities requirement, was the challenge for the customer, where the kind of solution which has been provided is to understanding the local requirement as per the specific sites, understanding the overall corporate or global QMS requirement, and understanding the what is the requirement as per regulations. Based on that, based on that, the right gap assessment has been done, understood which are the gaps, bringing the right implementation strategy, and which has helped kind of certain kind of processes where the site specific QMS can be implemented, certain kinds of processes where corporate QMS has to be integrated with the site specific processes. So that alignment has been done, and which has helped to have the right remediation plan to create the technical documentation, and which has enabled in terms of preparation of the right submission packages for getting the certification from the respective regulatory agencies. Being the products are getting manufactured at the different manufacturing sites, different PLM system were used, different kind of processes has been followed in terms of creating the design document. So one of the final element which we could able to bring is in terms of bringing the harmonization of entire design documentation, and with the help of that also completing this overall exercise in 12 months of time, which brings the right maybe time and the cost optimization to the manufacturer. I think working on these kind of various scenarios over the last couple of years, we believe that maybe because of these different activities, our client has realized very variety of different business benefits that start with getting the industry specific expertise based on the experience which our team has gathered, working on the different kind of business model which helps in terms of having the cost efficient things, and getting the final, I would say, the outcome based model where you will have the confidence in terms of accuracy on the quality of deliverables, working on different tools, different processes, different scenes, which bring the advantage of utilizing the technology innovation, ensuring compliance as per the applicable standard, and that helps the manufacturer in terms of business expansion, where they can focus on the specific core area, and these will be taken care by us. And it helps to have the faster integration, and our experience bring the right amount of operational efficiency. I think with these all these aspects of different benefits which has been brought, I think this is predominantly uh, brings the kind of aspects like how we can unite people, product, and processes, which help in terms of bringing the seamless integration. I request Anshul maybe go over in terms of aspects of this.
Thank you, Shailesh. So at Tata Elxsi, as Shailesh mentioned, we believe that ultimately integration has to revolve around the philosophy of uniting people, products, and processes to be seamless. We'll start with people, and we'll give you our functional viewpoint on how we go about this and what we feel is the roadmap for this. Uniting people, first of all, is I think across different teams, whether those are design teams, regulatory teams, engineering teams, is first and foremost instrumental in driving successful integration. A critical aspect of seamless integration is establishing knowledge management strategies. By capturing, transferring, and organizing critical design knowledge, companies can not just retain expertise but also leverage it for informed decision making during the integration. What is vital for this is also promoting collaboration and knowledge sharing among cross functional design teams. Seamless integration requires aligning teams to work cohesively, share insights, and collectively drive the integration process. It's not something that can be driven only from the top. For that, evaluating the skills and talents of your design and engineering and regulatory teams is essential for optimizing talent utilization. Identifying overlaps and skill gaps allows for resource optimization and better alignment with the integration strategic objectives. Implementing comprehensive training and change management programs as a result is crucial. You have to equip employees with the necessary skills and tools that will ensure a smooth adoption of integrated PLM systems and processes. Uh, and promoting cross-functional collaboration is key to success. Effective communication, having very clearly defined roles, and streamlined information sharing facilitate efficient PLM processes, which are clear for driving seamless integration. So here we believe that the philosophy of uniting people first is a fundamental pillar of achieving seamless integration, in mergers and acquisitions, especially for very innovation-driven medtech companies. By prioritizing collaboration, knowledge sharing, and effective training, medtech companies can unlock the full potential of their team, which is a vital aspect of leading to successful integration and continued growth. The next important aspect we believe is products. Integrating products efficiently ensures a harmonious and cohesive integration process. Let's quickly explore a few essential activities that we feel facilitate product unification and seamless integration. And standardizing design practices is a foundational step in the integration process. By incorporating requirements management, risk assessment, verification, validation reviews, companies can ensure consistency and compliance across design practices. Uh, Another essential aspect is harmonizing design documentation practices, ensuring consistent and compliant design documentation practices, through templates, formats, streamlines information sharing, and improves collaboration. Evaluating design tools, software, and test infrastructure again is crucial for consolidation and for reducing complexity. By consolidating your CADs and instruments and test jigs, companies can enhance collaboration, foster seamless integration. Conducting comprehensive application portfolio assessment, involving gap analysis, documentation review, redundancy identification, integration and interoperability assessment, and tool recommendations is vital, especially for facilitating optimized utilization of applications during the integration process. For product unification, another very crucial aspect is harmonizing the user interface and user experience. By conducting user research in such aspects, UI, user interface rationalization, usability testing, and ensuring accessibility compliance, companies can continuously improve product user experience. On the code side, code engineering plays a crucial role in product integration. On the digital side, activities such as code-based migration, code walkthroughs, code quality inspections, and code reviews enhance the alignment of the code, also streamline the product development processes, which involve code engineering. Okay? And finally, one other important aspect that I would want to highlight is standardizing the data structures, migrating product data, which can enable consistent accessibility and information flow. This step ensures that product data is readily available and effectively utilized during the integration process. So, by focusing on standardization, harmonization, consolidation, and alignment of product related processes, medtech companies can successfully drive product unification, and it's an important aspect of fostering a smooth integration journey. Very quickly, the last pillar or the third pillar, which is processes. Reuniting processes through a meticulous PLM system assessment, harmonization, integration is no doubt very crucial for seamless mergers and acquisitions. And very quickly to walk through a few of these activities, we start with evaluating PLM systems for comprehensive end-to-end product lifecycle support, which is very fundamental. Companies have to begin by assessing whether these systems adequately cover design, documentation, change control, quality, and compliance aspects to ensure seamless product management. Improving those processes after evaluation is essential for seamless collaboration, which involves standardizing workflows, addressing process gaps, to enhance efficiency and foster effective cross-functional collaboration. Integrating such PLM tools and applications plays a pivotal role in optimizing operations. The companies must always evaluate the feasibility of consolidation, integration, customization to streamline their product development processes, and integrating those PLMs with other enterprise systems such as ERP, EMES, and QMS not only ensures seamless information flow throughout the organization, but also enhances data accessibility and supports efficient decision making. On the design side, analyzing design processes is crucial for identifying harmonization opportunities. Understanding the similarities, differences, and alignment possibilities among design processes facilitates effective product unification. On the digital side, ensuring test strategy harmonization, encompassing both manual and automation testing, is vital for product integration. Activities such as test process review, standardizing test artifacts, test environment integration, and test data management enhance the testing efficiency. On the other side, conducting CSVs, computer system validation, soup validation, and design P&V verification validation activities are essential components of product unification. These activities can encompass all of gap analysis, integration planning, documentation review, and compliance assurance. So by focusing on these activities, you can take care of the third pillar, which is the processes, and it can facilitate smooth and efficient integration journey leading to sustained growth and success. And this philosophy of ensuring that integration unites people, products, and processes is how we operate at Tata Elxsi. One quick thing that I want to delve into is about how we provide 360-degree functional arsenal at Tata Elxsi, which is specially designed to provide robust support to MedTech companies during their post-merger and acquisition journeys and across the journey. Leveraging the expertise of our various functions, we aim to offer unparalleled support to ensure a seamless and successful integration process. A few examples that we want to talk in terms of how we provide end-to-end support is, starting with the CTO's office. Our CTO's office plays a pivotal role in aligning technology strategies and roadmaps to the M&A objectives. By identifying synergies and integrating technology platforms, we enable seamless collaboration and harmonized software applications workflows, driving efficient product integration. Our patents office conducts a thorough patent portfolio assessment, ensuring IP alignment during the integration process. We also develop comprehensive intellectual property integration strategies and harmonize agreements, while also conducting FTO analysis to safeguard our clients' interests. The IT systems office at Tata Elxsi takes charge of integrating IT systems and infrastructure, enabling smooth data flow and communication across the organization. This is also involved with prioritizing cybersecurity and data protection to safeguard critical information and harmonize systems for optimal efficiencies. The HR or the human side of the team plays a crucial role in managing talent retention and cultural integration during M&As, supporting organizational restructuring, change management to ensure a seamless blending of workforces. Additionally, we also develop talent development and succession plans for long-term growth that can foster seamless integrations and post-integration successes at companies. Naturally, the legal and compliance team is very crucial to take charge of managing legal risks and regulatory compliance throughout the M&A process, ensuring adherence as well to antitrust and competition law compliance, along with meticulously handling integration agreements and post-integration compliance. Thus, this 360-degree functional arsenal provides comprehensive support to MedTech companies for the post-M&A success, with expertise across various functions, not limited to our core expertise of regulatory, digital, and design. We offer additional expertise across these various functions to offer seamless integration, risk mitigation, and talent management. And our holistic approach is aimed to ensure our clients' sustained growth and competitive advantage. With that, we come to the end of our presentation. Thank you very much to our audience. Thank you, Shailesh. It's been a very informative session, especially from your end, on driving seamless M&A and how we can implement solutions to support OEMs. Before we go into the Q&A session, let me talk about the host of today's webinar, Tata Elxsi. Tata Elxsi is a part of the Tata Group and is amongst the world's leading providers of design, engineering, and regulatory compliance services for global pharmaceutical, life sciences, and medical device companies. With over 15 years of experience in catering to the global healthcare organizations, Tata Elxsi has built a strong services and solutions portfolio that adds value at every stage of the customer's product development lifecycle. In addition to industrial design and digital solutions, Tata Elxsi also has almost 1,000 person years of experience in providing regulatory compliance services such as consulting, dossier preparation, compilation, labeling, packaging, clinical regulatory writing, and pharmacovigilance. That was all about the host. Now we're going to open the session for the questions from the audience. We've already received some interesting questions from the audience during the session. I will jump straight into them. Shailesh, the first question that we have is on the regulatory compliance challenge. In the context is, since its criticality is paramount to medtech M&As, especially in light of regulations being different across geographies, Tata Elxsi being a global organization, and the regulations constantly evolving over time. So the question is, how do you ensure alignment of regulatory requirements between merging entities? How do you ensure a smooth transition there?
Yeah, I think Anshul, this is very comprehensive and very good question, and I think that brings to one of the example I think which we have done in the past is kind of uh, based on my experience. It has happened with one of the company like where they wanted to get into the various regions. It's kind of they wanted to get into US, Europe, and a couple of key markets like Brazil, Russia, and some of the countries of Asia Pacific. So as I detailed out earlier, like it is the defining the right roadmap and understanding what is the expectation, and in terms of ensuring the regulatory compliance, right kind of understanding has to be done at due diligence, like where are the areas or which are the areas in the global where the company is targeting, and defining understanding the which are the different regulation that comes for these countries, what regulation that FDA require, what that regulation that require in Europe, or specific regulation that Brazil, Russia, or any other country is looking for, and also what is the QMS system of acquire company. Once we understand the right kind of expectations and what kind of output that is we are looking from this entire process, and once we define this roadmap, understand the gaps, and once we work on this entire process, I think that helps to have the uh, successful completion of this entire journey.
Thank you for your insights, Shailesh. I will take the next question, which is again very interesting. It's on the people aspect. And the question is very interestingly worded as well. So, at the end of the day, it is one thing to integrate products and technologies, and another thing altogether to integrate people coming in from different geographies with different areas of expertise and lived experiences. In such cases where time differences may be the least of the differences, how do you deal with diverse teams and cultural differences? How do you ensure effective communication and collaboration between different functional teams during the integration process? It's a very interesting question.
Yes, so I think what I would like to emphasize more in terms of this is like when we are working on different continental or working on the different countries, even the pace by which we work is different. Like sometimes US move very faster. The 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 companies we are working in Europe, they move little bit slower, and also some of the aspects like it's kind of see all these during this process, understanding is people is very important. Understanding the sentiment of people, understanding the way they work, the cultural aspects of how they work in the different region is also important, and I think language is also one of the barrier. So we need to understand how that has to be worked, and also the time zone is a very important aspect. Like when you are working with the different continental, how you are bringing the overlap when you are working with the different continental areas. And I think one of the point which I wanted to emphasize is that we need to onboard the right team. We need to onboard the kind of set of people who are required from the different expertise. And once we have this kind of alignment at the start of execution, this solves many of the problems, and it will help to have the seamless integration process.
Thank you, Shailesh. Um, I think we will pause here in terms of questions. Thank you very much, Shailesh, for the answers to those questions and for the presentation again. Thank you also to the audience for the interesting questions on offer. Uh, Thank you very much for registering and joining our webinar today. We hope you enjoyed the session. We're also cognizant of the fact that we may not have been able to answer some of your questions, So in the course of the next few days, we will be sending the recording of the session, and we would also share written answers to the questions that we couldn't answer today that we had received on chat. We hope you will appreciate that. Thank you once again for joining the webinar, and wishing you a very great day ahead and a good week ahead.